up? What's up? How are y'all doing? Beautiful brothers and sisters. Welcome. Excited to be doing this video. Really excited. I'm gonna let the music play for a little bit longer though. All right. Alrighty. Let's turn the music down a tad. Don't know if you guys are able to hear it, but it's okay. Welcome, my beautiful brothers and sisters, to the Aquarian Adepts. My platform, our platform to become your spiritual server. And welcome to another live event. I'm hoping to go live at least once a week, talking about either a particular transit or doing a Phoenix talk. Today, we're going to be talking about Mars going direct. Thank God. Oh man, Mars has come direct, guys. We should celebrate and have a good time and party. Ironically, though, the sun is in Virgo, which is asking us to clean up, organize, rearrange things so that they flow better. Yeah, so it's like there may be a want to celebrate because we're going to feel a bit of a spark. You know, it's going to be like the light bulb has come back on. You're going to feel jolts, a burst of energy. In fact, at the time of me filming this, Mars came direct at around 8 p.m. actually. So I kind of synchronized it very well. I didn't even know that that was the time exactly that Mars was going to be coming direct. I just happened to work out that way. So yeah, how's everyone doing? So we have a lot to talk about, guys. We have a lot to talk about. I have about 3 pages of notes on this Mars direct and how important it is. Because I'm not just talking about the energies of today. I go all the way up until next year in the month of April. Now you're probably wondering, how is that even relevant to what's going on? Well, everything affects everything. So it's important to see how Mars progresses forward from here on out and how it's going to start to trigger certain areas within our consciousness. And of course, this is going to differentiate from person to person based off of their own chart. So if you want to know how this Mars is really affecting you, I highly encourage you to get to know what your chart looks like. There are multiple websites that you can go to that offer just a free little report. At least they'll show you where your planets and stuff like that are. You know, Cafe Astrology is one. You know, Astrology is one. If you want to know what it means and stuff, and if you look at the chart and it looks all crazy and weird and you don't know how to necessarily interpret it, That's when coming to someone like me comes into play. We can do a personal reading, and I can let you know exactly how these energies will be affecting you, and kind of give you like a blueprint or a map to show you how this is going to affect you over the next few months. Because this is a very huge pivot moment right here. Not only are plans starting to come forward now, but we also are pretty much, we're halfway through the year. But the first half of the year was really about clearing away a bunch of stuff. You know, it was rather difficult. It was a lot of mental purging, especially a lot of emotional purging, and really coming to terms with embracing a new world, a new us, a new reality, coming into the space. We're really setting the seeds, especially the second half of the year, for that new world to come forth and prosper. We had to go through months of clearing and healing and deep spiritual work. Now the Mars coming direct, we're going to finally start to act on a lot of the different things that have come to us and things that we have been working with within our consciousness and even unconscious, right? We're going to start to act on a lot of these things now that Mars has come direct. Now, of course, it's still going to be in its shadow period, and it will be for a while. It's going to, let's see, when is that? It's going to be around, October 9th, October 10th. October 8th to October 10th is when Mars is going to come out of shadow. So that's when we're going to really feel the energy lift off. But the interesting thing about when Mars exits shadow is that as soon as it comes out of shadow, it's going to be met with an obstacle. So it might not even feel like it comes out of shadow. But the interesting thing is that I kind of propose, and I'll show you when I bring up the chart and everything, that there's going to be a moment while Mars is in shadow that's almost going to be like it gets a glimpse of how things will be when it exits shadow, and when it's feeling more confident and more able to move forward and more able to act on the things that it wants, the desires, motives. It's almost going to be like the shadow is actually going to be lifted off before Mars exits shadow. It's almost going to be like the energy is going to be lifted off, and we're actually going to be able to really propel forward. But when Mars officially exits shadow, there's going to be this moment where we're met with a challenge, and it's going to be up to us whether we remember that moment before, where we're kind of given a glimpse as to how we can push forward through this challenge and through this obstacle. But like I said, we still have quite a bit to discuss. I am super excited, of course, to be doing this, and hopefully we can get some people on here. Try to schedule this to the point where some people can join me. But whether you watch this while it's live or not, the information will be good, and we will come together and we will help each other to manifest our dreams and our desires. Not just let them stay dreams. Don't let your dreams be dreams. Just do it. Do it. Like this transit. This is like that video you need to seriously watch on repeat. Watch it on repeat, because that's what this energy is. Mars has been wanting to do it for a while, probably more ways than one, but it's been retrograde. But now that it is direct and it's in its exaltation in Capricorn, at the edge of it, this is us really wanting to act on our career, our legacy, what we want to leave behind, where we see ourselves in the world, our place in the world, and really wanting us to act on this spot. Because now we have been really been thinking about this a lot. What are we supposed to be doing here? What are we doing here? How do we act? What is our career? What is our legacy? What is our destiny? We have to consider that the nodes are barreling towards this spot. The nodes, of course, right now are in Aquarius and Leo, respectively. But soon, during this whole, this Mars video and Mars making these particular aspects, they will actually shift into Cancer and Capricorn. So, super major, very important. And I will be talking about this in my September horoscope report, which will be for purchase on my website, about how September is going to be the month is going to be a very profound month, a very powerful month, arguably more powerful than August, I would say. But September is going to be what I call a soft reset of who we are. But then, literally going into New Year's, we actually get the hard reset. Like we get like a full reboot of who we are. In September, we get this soft reset, and it's kind of nice because we need the soft reset going into the last few months of the year, because Venus will be coming retrograde. I believe Mercury will come retrograde one more time, and we really do need this moment to reconsider our connection to other people, to reconsider our peace, our harmony, and to, of course, reconsider these deeper areas of our life, these shadows that we hide from people, and the energy that we share amongst each other. Scorpio does rule shared resources, but if you think about it, it being a fixed water sign, and how, yeah, you can be fixated on particular emotions and stuff, but this is also about the sharing of energy and trust. Trust is very important to Scorpios. And of course, it's opposite sign of Taurus. But trust is very, very important. So this is also going to be a moment, this Mars transit, as it finishes up in the last two signs of the zodiac. Because literally, it's interesting how Mars really comes into Aries right at the end of the year, going into the new year. That's why I say it's a hard reset. But I'll show you all that, especially when we get into the vid. All right, so let's talk, shall we? Not that we haven't already been talking. This is a very powerful. I brought my sword on here, as you can see. Of course, Aries is the sign of warrior. So lately, the warrior has been, I guess you could say, in the barracks, getting healed, trying to figure out things, and wanting to climb the rest of the mountain, and then, of course, get abducted back into space with Aquarius, into the Star Wars. And then when it comes into Pisces, then that's when Mars starts really messing with the Force. It's starting to master the Force. But right now, Mars is still near the top of the mountain, trying to get to the top of the mountain. It's almost kind of like Mars. It's almost kind of like, think about it like this. Think about it, and I'm about to be a nerd right now. But it's almost like Mars was like Goku, and he trained and trained and got to this particular point and wanted to go to this tournament of different space warriors and fighters, and then he realized, oh shit, I gotta train more. So he decides to leave space, come back to Earth, and train more. That's really what this is. Now that Mars is coming forward, it's almost like we're going back into the battle, so to speak. We're kind of going back. We're going to climb back up to the top of the mountain. We're going to get abducted by the Aquarius energy, go into space, and then we're going to enter the tournament. Especially when Mars comes into Pisces, that's when we officially enter like this tournament to see who's actually going to act on their dreams. Because you got to think about it, Mars doesn't really like to be in Pisces. The reason why is because, yeah, you can act on your dreams and make them a reality, but sometimes we get so caught up in the act of dreaming that we don't actually manifest it. It's like Mars and Pisces, the pitfall of it, the negative manifestation of it, if you allow it to get there, is you literally sitting on your bed staring at the ceiling for like so many hours of the day, just fantasizing about the dream, fantasizing about the car you want, fantasizing about the house that you want, the relationship that you want, the career that you want, fantasizing about, oh, how great it would be to have this. But then you look at the clock and it's 11 p.m. and you let another day go by without taking any type of action on it. But the great thing about Mars going into Pisces later on this year is acting on our imagination is really going to bring about fruitful harvests of abundance from spirits. And it'll be very quite profound and beautiful. So I'm excited. I hope you are excited. I know we have some people watching now. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for joining. I'm excited to be doing this. I'm excited to share this space with all of you, my beautiful brothers and sisters. But let's celebrate, man. Mars is direct. Mars is direct, especially for my fellas out there. We all have masculine energy, but I'm telling you, Mars, and I'm gonna be pretty just blunt and maybe even a little graphic. Mars retrograde is like having your balls deflated, like for real. it's like having your balls deflated and you're trying to like get off, but you just can't. You just can't get off. It's just not happening. Like, I'm sorry, babe, it's just not happening today. It's like Mars going retrograde, and if you happen to, men, if you may attest to this, or anybody who is in a relationship with someone who at least physically is representing the masculine. Like I said, we all have masculine, but it's almost like we've gone through like an extended man period. That's what Mars retrograde is. And you got to think about Mars is the only sign that can go 2 years going forward without retrograding. Like that's pretty intense because Mars just wants to go. Just want to go. Just wants to go. Just wants to go. So, Mars coming back online, it's like, guys, we're kind of getting our balls again. Or our testicular fortitude. But like I said, we all, of course, have this Mars energy. We all have the masculine energy. So it is actually nice because now the Mars moving forward, especially in its, exaltation of Capricorn, we're really going to start to be considering actions that we can take that not only benefit ourselves and our spirit, but also benefit others because it will be coming into Aquarius. That's where it originally retrograded. So we were already considering actions that we can take that would benefit other people. We also have to consider that the South Node has been in Aquarius. So there's still a little bit of selfishness here and still a bit of like questioning whether or not your heart's really in the right place when taking upon certain actions under the guise that you're helping people, but maybe you're trying to take advantage of them. So that's the thing that we're kind of being called into question. And, men, this masculine energy is going to start to get its power back, but hopefully in a more dignified space to where we're not taking from individuals and we actually achieve some level of peace and harmony and balance. We also have to consider that the planet that typically represents the divine feminine energy, Venus, is going to be retrograde. So it's interesting how the divine masculine energy kind of goes through in the other signs that are masculine signs, of course. But it's interesting how mechanically, Mars, if you think about it, Mars is, men, and Venus is, the feminine energy mechanically, right? So interesting is that Mars got its retrograde before Venus gets its retrograde. So it's like the men or the masculine energy is having to reconsider how to act in the world, how to behave in the world, so it can benefit other people, not just themselves, how it can actually benefit a group of people. This is even corporations beginning to look at their values and change their values so that it actually benefits the entire collective. But soon we will have Venus going retrograde from Scorpio into Libra. So this is about the feminine energy having to trust, having to open up and trust that they're not going to get railroaded, and then finding relationships with people who do have their best interests at heart. Now, even though you may not completely see eye to eye with these people, because let's be real, there's so much unique and dynamic energy here on this planet. Everyone is a unique star. That's something that we definitely need to consider. So you're not always going to agree with everybody, even your best friends, even your twin flame or your soulmate, your lover, your parents, But this is also going to be about us trusting that we can actually find common thread between us. So, and that's what the feminine energy is going to be opening up to. It's going to be trying to go through that energy. So this is about trusting ourselves to open up to people, trusting ourselves to open up to spirit, and simultaneously taking the necessary actions and the steps and establishing the necessary behaviors that's going to really allow us to bring forth this new society. So, welcome, Nick. Welcome, Nick Horner. Thank you for joining. Scorpio Sun, Cancer Moon, Capricorn Rising. I am also a Scorpio Sun. I have my Moon in Pisces. So yeah, I'm going through my lunar return, and then I'm a Sagittarius rising actually. So we have pretty similar energies. And of course, my beautiful, beautiful partner has joined. Hello to you, Lauren. Mwah. All right. So, anyways, what I want to do is I want to get into the chart and show you the progression of Mars, and I'm going to kind of go back into the past a little bit, but also jump into the future to show you this transiting of Mars and how it's triggering certain energies within our consciousness, and how, well, critically important I really think this is, and really revealing to you the power of this Mars going direct and how it's happening at a very critical time and a very critical moment. Perfect that it's happening in the sign of Virgo, because this is talking about the actions that we take right now. Even though the sun is in Virgo and it's a mutable earth sign, this is about allowing ourselves and opening ourselves up to taking the necessary steps that will change our day-to-day reality. So by the time that the sun reaches Pisces, we're really going to be like experiencing this deep, incredible magic, right? So let's get on to the charts. Just give me one moment here. I'm going to share my screen in a bit. Let's see. All right, so let me refresh that to today. And bam, as you can see, as of 8:32 p.m., Mars has officially come forward. It's into the black now. And at 28 degrees of Capricorn in its exaltation, with the moon being in Pisces. And look at this, Chiron is here in Aries, Uranus is here in Taurus. The sun coming off of this grand Earth trine, being at 4 degrees of Virgo at the current moment, with Saturn still at 2 degrees, although it's stationing, and then you have Uranus at 2 degrees here. So coming off this Earth trine, really feeling that now is the time to act. Now is the time to manifest, and we're going to want to blaze forward. But before we blaze forward, I want you to take a note of a couple of things. Let me look here at my notes so I can know what dates I want to bring this to. Okay, so we're going to actually take this back to the moment that Mars went retrograde. All right, so this was actually the moment that Mars went retrograde, June 26, 2018, 5:05 p.m. Look how the sun is making this opposition to Saturn. Like, you can't make this up. So this is interesting because when the Mars reaches this spot again, we're going to kind of be remembering this energy, because you got to think about it, that timelines exist on top of each other. So even though a particular astrological transit happens and the energy kind of it fades off, it's still prevalent and it's still happening because all timelines exist on top of each other. So this is how you can have past transits being triggered by future transits, and vice versa, and how really it's just really powerful, especially when you look at how these aspects overlay each other. But as you can see, like I said, we do have Mars stationing retrograde on this particular date, while the sun was opposing Saturn. Now, Chiron was moving forward, Uranus was still moving forward, Mercury was still moving forward. We also have the nodes, here at 6 degrees, respectively. But Jupiter was also retrograde in the middle of Sag. So I want you to remember this because this is important. 9 degrees when the 13th solar minute. Now, what we're going to do is now we're going to move this forward to the eclipses because the eclipses, I feel, are very important, kind of establishing what Mars was involved in and how Mars is going to move forward. So, let's do this. Who was the first eclipse? This was the new moon solar eclipse that happened in Cancer. At this point, Mars was at 7 degrees of Aquarius. But this energy is also opposing Pluto. As you can see, Venus had slipped into Virgo, so we actually were experiencing another grand Earth trine actually at the same time. So it's interesting how we have these two grand Earth trines that are occurring. The main two that I want to focus on though were the second and third eclipses that happened. So now look at this. Now this is actually the moment at 3 degrees where I say that Mars can kind of, or at least give the illusion, because it's technically an illusion, give the illusion of kind of coming out of retrograde early, or at least maybe the effects of the retrograde start to come off and start to fade at this point. The reason being is that this was the full moon lunar eclipse that happened in Aquarius, which was profound. I don't know if you remember this time, but this was a really major shift, a huge shift, because you got to think about it. Uranus was squaring the nodes, even though it's not exact. Uranus was squaring the nodes. We also have this eclipse on top of Mars at 3 degrees, and it's the 58th solar minute, so it's really close to 4 degrees. The sun's on top of the north node, and all these energies, the moon and Mars, the moon was sandwiched between the south node in Aquarius and Mars. This is a huge moment because when Mars reaches this spot again, because the moon was in such proximity to the spot and such Mars happened to be here, we're emotionally going to be triggered by this moment, especially when the moon comes back over this spot. But we're going to be emotionally triggered by this moment. And it may come across maybe as a particular action or something that happens throughout the day. And a lot of people are probably going to act out subconsciously, but we're going to be triggered by this eclipse and almost kind of given a reminder of it because, you know, technically you can say that the energies of the eclipse are wearing off or worn off, but that's really to be determined, especially when the sun reaches this spot in Aquarius. That's going to be kind of when we get the next full moon in Aquarius, when the sun reaches back to this spot in Leo. That's when the energy truly wears off. But when we get the new moon that happens in Aquarius, that's also going to be kind of another pivot point. But Mars being in such proximity to this eclipse, this life-altering eclipse, means that for me, I can see that for Aries, for Aquarius, and there was another sign. I would say Taurus if they're able to overcome any challenges or difficulties because Uranus was in their sign squaring this energy. These are going to be the signs, Aquarius and Aries especially, that's going to feel in Cancer. These are going to be the signs that feel the retrograde lifting off the first. Aries, because they're really anxious just to come out of shadow. So Aries, be careful about taking any super rash decisions. Just make sure you run it through the proper channels. Aquarius, make sure that, you know, kind of the same thing. You might want to detach from certain behaviors and certain groups of people. But once again, just make sure you run through the proper channels. In Cancer, make sure that it just feels right. Make sure it feels right before you take whatever action because you're going to kind of temporarily feel like Mars is not in shadow period. Because even though Mars will be going forward by the time that Mars hits this spot again, and I'll show you, you're gonna want to do something. You're going to want to move forward, but Mars is technically in shadow, so it's still technically reviewing, even though it's going forward. So just make sure that you have discernment. Now let's move this forward again to the solar eclipse that happened. Now, the new moon solar eclipse in Leo, we can see it happened at 18 degrees. Mercury was here at 14 degrees. His energy was conjuncting Pluto. But I also want you to look at where Mars was. Mars was at 0 degrees of Aquarius. So it's blank. It's actually holding space for the future. Even though it's retrograde, it's actually holding space for the future. But since this happened during this time of an eclipse, it's almost like we had to hold space and we had to open up and be like, okay, God, what am I going to do? Like, what do I do? How do I go from here? How do I act? And we're receiving downloads from the universe, holding space for these downloads on where to act and how to go and how to move forward, especially as it relates to community, service to others, humanitarianism, knowledge, information, the internet. This was another powerful moment for Mars to be at. So literally, when Mars comes back into Aries into Aquarius, that's going to be kind of like another moment. It's almost like when Mars is coming back online, it's like it's moving from one shift to another. If you have like a manual car, it's like Mars it was going. It's now like the engine's cranked up, and when Mars reaches this spot, it's like it's shifting into another gear. And then when it hits that 3 degrees, it'll shift into another gear. And then when it finally comes out of shadow, it shifts into another gear. And then like you're like full speed ahead. Let's go, choo choo! Like it's ready to go. Let's do it. But you still have to go through some things first. All right. Now let's bring it back to today. And now I'm going to start to move this forward and show you some rather important dates that you really need to be aware of. The first of which is going to be September 6th. Now, the reason why I chose this as a very important date is because, as you can see, and I'll move this back just a tad so you can see it. But we do have the moon, which is actually going to make this opposition to Mars. It'll be the first opposition it makes to Mars as Mars is coming forward. It'll be going forward for 2 years. So this is critical. Happening at the edge of Capricorn and Cancer. And we got to remember that the nodes are going to hit this spot soon. This is powerful because this is going to be another moment where emotionally we're trying to feel better. It's like, okay, like now that I'm at the top of the mountain, I can see the spaceship coming. It's ready to take me off so we can go to another planet or 2 or 3. And we're going to start to kind of go into training mode and be briefed on like the space wars and what's happening. It's like we're really trying to feel out. It's like, are we ready for this? Are we ready to push forward? Look where Chiron is at. 0 degrees, like the fish has 0 degrees of Aries. So we're even, and Mars is coming into a sextile at this spot. And even though it's 2 different elements, it is trining the moon. So this is a very critical moment of believing in ourselves and that yes, you can. Yes, you can move forward. Yes, you can do it. Okay? And the other interesting thing about this is the fact that it is beginning to square over to Venus, which is going to be at 28 degrees. So it's even like we're looking to manifest certain relationships and partnerships and just a level of harmony in our life that really sets us up and allows us to feel better about our situation and where we're heading in life and what we're trying to establish, and really just believe in ourselves, have the confidence to really push and move forward. Now, the next day that I wanted to talk about was actually on the 8th. And this is actually the day where the moon shifts into Virgo. So this is actually going to be us really trying to fill out the details and try to move things forward. We also have to consider, look, the sun's coming off of its opposition to Neptune, which is really going to be like, we're going to want to live in like the fantasy world. Like some people might get to the top of the mountain and are ready to act, but they may be projecting I don't want to say that they're dreaming too big, because you can't dream too big. I'm going to let you know that. But are you willing to take the action to move it forward? Because look, Saturn is officially direct at this point. So are you willing to take the necessary steps in your day-to-day reality to actually, manifest that reality, to manifest what you truly want? I see the moon will be coming into trine. with this spot. And if you move this forward, you'll see, I believe, it's actually going to be, let's see, I'm trying to figure out what day it is. The moon will come over Mercury. As you can see, going into the 8th, the moon will meet up with the sun before it makes its opposition. It makes its opposition. Now it's meeting up with the sun, and Mars is getting closer and closer and closer to that 0-degree mark. Look at this. Venus has officially entered into Scorpio, making a quincunx over to Chiron, no less. And Venus does not like to be in Scorpio. So I'm telling you, the 8th through the 9th might be awkward. The 8th, 9th, and 10th might be very awkward days because it's almost like, okay, like we're about to be whisked away on a space adventure to another planet. I don't know how I feel about this. I don't know if I have the confidence to move forward. Did I get all my shit together? Did I get all my ducks in a row? Did I get everything organized? September 10th is the day where, I believe it's the day where Mars officially enters back into Aquarius. Interesting enough, the Venus will actually be making a quincunx over to Chiron and Aries. We have the sextile happening because Mars is officially entered into Aquarius, and it's also beginning to oppose Uranus, and it will that day too. So that's another important time, is the 8th through the 10th, because this is the moment where Mars is entering back into Aquarius. And as you can remember, this is going to be triggering that new moon solar eclipse that we had, which was at 18 degrees of Leo. Interesting enough, look what is going to be quincunx in that spot exactly. Because during the quincunx of that eclipse, Pluto was at 19 degrees. Now it's going to be at 18 degrees. Not only that, but we have a harmonic 18 degrees Jupiter, 18 degrees the sun. Jupiter will be squaring that spot. This is at the moment that Mars enters into Aquarius. So once again, and this is September 11th. So it literally can feel, and this is just so, please forgive me for this, because it's still a tragedy. This can feel like your world's collapsing. This really could feel like things are falling apart. And they probably are. Probably because in order for you to move forward and create the life that you want, you have to clear space and make way for a new. So condolences, of course, still to the families that suffered such a terrible tragedy on that day. I'm not the most patriotic guy, but I do have compassion, and I know that no one should have to experience anything like that. But September 11th is oddly going to feel very September 11th, if that makes any kind of sense. So let's move this thing forward to September 20th, okay? Now, here's another important day because the moon is actually going to meet up with Mars on this day in Aquarius. And this is actually going to be right before the moon hits that spot that I was talking about, 3 degrees of Aquarius, 58th solar minute. That was at during the lunar eclipse in Aquarius. But these energies will meet up earlier in the day, like really early, like pretty much September 19th going into the 20th. They're going to meet up at 2 degrees here. And this spot's actually going to be opposing the north node, and it's going to be conjunct the south node. Ironically, this is happening at the time where the sun was at 4 degrees at that moment. Remember, the sun was at 4 degrees during that eclipse, and the moon was at 4 degrees during that eclipse. So once again, we kind of have things meeting up. We also have Mercury coming into its conjunction with the sun. So this is kind of like this last moment. This is almost like us kind of getting gassed up, ready to kind of enter back into the race in many ways. It could, I was saying that this could be like, shifting from one gear to another, but this is also kind of like you coming into the pit stop, and this is like you fueling up and really getting back into the race and getting back into the groove of things, right? But on this day, let me check my notes, because Mars doesn't hit that spot until it's a few days afterwards. And I want to get it to that moment when it does. Let's just do this. Move it one step forward. Another step forward. Another step forward. Another step forward. Okay. Did I write this date down originally? I felt like I was supposed to, but for some reason it's not in my notes. Ironically. Because I want to get it pretty much exact. I'm sorry I haven't, if anyone's commenting and stuff, I just want to get through this part, and then I'll come back and we'll draw cards for everything, and I'll interact with you guys more. But on September 25th, we do see that Mars has officially hit that spot of the eclipse. I'm surprised I didn't write this down, because I was actually looking at this date. It was really important, because the interesting thing about this is that the moon is actually going to cover Chiron on this day. And this is the day that Mars officially hits that spot where it was involved in that lunar eclipse. And as you can see, the moon here will have shifted from, and this is really September 24th into the 25th, so this is another important time here, where the moon actually covers over Chiron right before Chiron goes into Pisces. It's right there. And it covers this spot just as Mars is re-entering that space and re-entering that energy. So we're really going to be feeling how we're changing at this moment. And this is really going to be about establishing a new belief structure. You gotta look at it. It's trining over to the sun during this moment. And it's coming off the trine with Mercury as well. So, and like I said, another powerful moment for Mars, and another powerful day of wanting to take action, but we are still in that shadow phase here. So I'm going to move this forward to October 8th. And as you can see, Mars is actually at 9 degrees, which is the degree that it retrograded at. But if you do move it forward, and actually, I can even just do this. Well, actually, no, that's okay. Because I want to say that it retrograded let's see. I don't have the solar minute, but anyways, October 8th through the 10th is a very critical moment. We do have the moon, which is actually, this is this is technically based off the solar minute, because I believe it was actually, I kid you not, I'm pretty sure Mars retrograded at the 9th degree in the 11th solar minute. I kid you not. And I kind of want to just go back and look just to see if I'm even right on that. And if I am, then astrology is so fucking crazy and amazing. 13th, okay, like that was pretty close. I was like, oh my gosh, like I just talked about 9/11, and then like this happens. But anyways, as you can see, Mars is getting really dangerously close to that spot. In fact, by the time the moon and sun meet up in Libra, it actually technically comes off that minute and is officially technically out of shadow. You can say it really comes out of shadow when it hits the 10th degree, which it will on the 10th. So October 8th, 9th, and 10th is actually going to be this moment where we're going to definitely be wanting to feel the harmony and peace and establish something. We also have to consider that Jupiter is even coming out of shadow at the same time. It's interesting how both Mars and Jupiter are coming out of shadow at the same time. At the same damn time. Like, and look at this, Chiron is officially back into Pisces. Yeah, so there's still some karmic entanglement here, my friends. There's still some karmic entanglement here. And it's interesting how the nodes are now actually at 3 degrees, which is actually where Mars was at earlier. Give me just one moment, guys. I will be right back. All right, my beautiful brothers and sisters, I am back. So as I was saying, Mars is coming out of its shadow, Jupiter is coming out of its shadow, Venus is retrograde. So it's like we don't really catch a break as far as like, I mean, and that's okay. There's always going to be challenges and things that come in for us to review, so we can evolve and move forward. But I just think it's really interesting that all this is occurring at such a critical moment. Not only that, but I believe, let's see, yeah, this is October 8th. So if we move this forward to October 10th, I'll just take it back to noon, so you can really see this transition. Mars is officially off the 9th degree, so it's officially out of shadow. Woohoo! So we're really just trying to feel out what can we really act on, how can we manifest more of a connection to other people, and what behaviors and actions can we take to really move this thing forward. Jupiter will actually come out of a shadow officially too by coming onto the 24th degree. But look at this, the moon will have entered Scorpio, Mercury enters Scorpio. So it's like, even though we want to move things forward, we have to consider that Venus is retrograde here, and it doesn't like to be here. The moon is in Scorpio, and it doesn't like to be here. So it's like, not only are we trying to open up to the possibilities and the dreams, of course, that Jupiter unlocked when it came over this spot, but it's like, do we feel good about it? Do we feel good about moving forward? Do we feel good about trusting certain individuals? Do they understand a vision? Do they see where we're trying to go? Do they support us? That's really going to all be called into question on October 10th. October 10th is arguably probably one of the most powerful days of the year, I believe, for this reason, just because Mars comes out of shadow this day. And if I move forward, you will also see that Jupiter comes out of shadow technically that day as well. So both Mars and Jupiter come out of shadow on the same day. On the same day. I'm really excited about this because I have my natal sun at 24 degrees of Scorpio, so I've been waiting for this. I've been waiting for this. And the moon will actually come over Venus, which whenever the moon conjuncts Venus, it's a very nice energy. It's a very beautiful energy. But the fact that it's in Scorpio, not only that, but Venus is retrograde in Scorpio, and it's already at its fall position, it's not going to be happy. So this is actually a day where, kind of just be aware of, just because, things can happen. People might take some crazy actions on this day that might really completely shift up their life. But you have to, once again, use discernment. Is this right for me? Is this really what I want? Is this really what I want? Saturn's going to be direct. Pluto's going to be direct. Yeah. Anyways, let's move this forward once again. And I want to go to October 23rd. This is the day where the sun actually ingresses into Scorpio. And as far as what Mars is doing on this day, there's not really super much that's happening. I just wanted to make a note of this, especially since the sun's going to be opposing Uranus at this time. And we do have the ruler of Mars energy, Aries. The moon's actually going to be there. So we're still going to be kind of feeling into this spot. And it's actually going to be making a sextile over to Mars. So it's like we're really trying to feel into these new changes and this new life that we want to move forward, these connections that we want to make with other people, whether or not we're connecting with the right individuals. So Mars is going to be here at 16 degrees. It's kind of, it's not exact. Obviously, it's coming off the square to Mercury. So let's see. The other day that's actually pretty interesting, and these are kind of some minor dates as far as the Mars transit, the 23rd and this date right here. It's kind of interesting though. The 31st. The 31st is going to oddly feel, I don't know how to describe it. Like for Halloween, for those of you who celebrate Halloween, this is a day where it's filled with spooks and ghouls, and monsters, werewolves, vampires. Interesting enough, we actually have this grand trine that's beginning to form because Jupiter is here at 28 degrees. Mercury has entered into Sagittarius, And we have Chiron here at 28 degrees, and then we have the North Node just about to shift with the Moon here in Leo. Now, during this time, Mars is at 20 degrees. So it's not making really any aspects to anything. But I wanted to make a note of this day just because since there's this trine, of course, that you're experiencing, And not only that, but let's look at this. Venus. We move this thing forward. But we're experiencing this grand trine, and it's a dual elemental trine. So we have 2 water signs and a fire sign. We have Venus shifting back into its home in Libra. So Mars is actually going to be finally joined by another air sign. Because Venus would have been in Scorpio, and now it's going to be joined with some more air. So it's like, whereas before this time, for at least a few weeks, the only thing that was really propelling communication forward was this anxious and angsty Mars energy, because Mars is like ready to come home to Aries. Like it's ready to come home to Aries. It's ready to plow through November and December so it can finally come home. It's going to be joined as far as air energy by Venus coming back home into Libra, which is going to hopefully bring about some balance. And really, it's kind of a culmination point of that October 10th date, I feel, just because we're going to be going back and kind of reconsidering these connections and stuff. But Halloween's going to feel probably pretty surreal. And it's going to feel like Halloween, but it's going to kind of have like a flair of Christmas to it, if that makes any sense. Like, it's almost like there might be some moments or some things that happen on this day or some synchronicities that might try and scare you, but really it's not that scary. Like, but you have to really believe in yourself. Let's move this forward to November 6th. November 6th. All right. So, and really, this is it's really from November 6th to November 8th. That's really critical. I see here, because we do have. Look at this. The node is right here on the edge. It doesn't show the south node here, but it's right here on the edge as well. And then, bam! Actually, literally, just right there. This grand water trine forms. So November 6th is the day of this grand water trine as it's starting to really come into its apex, and we really begin to feel it. But look at where Mars is. It's at 24 degrees of Aquarius. Now, why is this important? Because it's not making any aspects to anything. There's a loose trine between Mars and Venus, but it's actually also squaring the energy or the degree of 24 degrees that Jupiter retrograded at in Scorpio. Now, I know Jupiter's not here anymore. It's at the edge of Scorpio, about getting ready to come home. But is there any doubt as to why Mars will be square this energy at the same time as the nodes shift? So literally, God, universe, goddess perspective, source perspective is literally shifting the focus, and this is happening on the day that Mars squares where Jupiter went retrograde. Like, that's so crazy to me. I don't know. I just get really excited when I see stuff like that, because I know Jupiter's not there, but I think it's really interesting how you can see how transits can affect transits in the future or the past and stuff, and how they line up, and they make these really crazy aspects. Like, it's really quite profound. But as you can see, November 7th is going to be the day where the moon meets up with the sun. Jupiter is here, right here at the edge of Scorpio, getting ready to shift. We also have, look, Uranus has also shifted, and it's squaring. It's going to be squaring. It's going to be squaring the nodes. It's going to be squaring. Excuse me. It's going to be squaring this north node, but at the same time, it will be it's going to be squaring the nodes. Yeah, so squaring the nodes actually, because it'll be in Capricorn. So the south node will be in Capricorn. Move this forward. We have I'm pretty sure it is the 8th, right? Bam. Jupiter has come home. It's in Sagittarius. Even though it's at 0 degrees, it's there. And then boom, the moon enters into this spot and conjuncts it. So November 6th and November 8th is very powerful because this is actually a moment, like I said, where Mars squares the spot that Jupiter was at. Jupiter comes home, the moon enters his space, Mars comes off that degree, and we are really officially on like this new adventure. Like we're moving forward into a new world, this new adventure. Jupiter is finally at home. It's really happy to be home. It's excited. It's just really super happy at this moment. And then let's see. I have a few more days to show you guys, I promise, and then we'll get over to everything else. So, November 16th. Look at this. This is actually the day. Is this the day where Mars enters into Pisces? I believe so. But as you can see, Mars is actually in Pisces now. Venus has come off of its retrograde motion, so now it's moving forward. And the Sun is actually conjuncting that spot that Jupiter was at the same time that Mars is entering into Pisces. So, like I said, Mars doesn't necessarily like to be in Pisces because it can get too caught up in a dream and not actually act and move things forward. The moon's actually going to be here in Pisces too, so we're going to double fill this energy. Look at this buildup of Pisces energy that we suddenly get. Mars, the moon, Neptune retrograde, and Chiron retrograde. We suddenly get this buildup of water energy, and the North Node is in Cancer, and we have the Sun in Scorpio. This is actually technically November 16th, my solar return. Technically, my birthday is the 17th, but technically this day is actually going to be my solar return, so it's actually kind of interesting. This is happening on the day of my solar return. So we have November 26th is another day that I wanted to key you in on. Now look at this. We have this opposition that the moon's going to be making at the same time that Mars is going to be sextiling Saturn, and it's actually going to be squaring this nice little sandwich right here of energy, right? We have Mercury at 5 degrees, the Sun and Jupiter conjunct at 4 degrees, another super powerful moment. We also have Venus making a quincunx over to Chiron, exact, and it's going to be squaring the nodes. So November 26th is another powerful day, because even though we're going to be really wanting to act on things and move forward and act on our dreams, we're really having to be discerning about where we're moving forward towards. How can we revolutionize our character and who we are? Do we have the confidence to open up doors that Spirit wants us to open up? Because we can clearly see that Sun Jupiter days are very powerful, positive days, but there are some challenges on this day. It's squaring Mars. There's Mercury retrograde. So there's some challenges on this day where it's like we really want to be positive and move things forward, but we still have to work through some of these kinks. December 4th through the 7th is another powerful moment, I feel. And I wrote these down. I was like looking up all this. I was researching all this like before I even came on, mainly because we have this grand water trine between Mercury, Chiron, and the North Node. And Mars is coming into its conjunction with Neptune, which is actually going to be very interesting. But this is actually a moment where it's going to be trining over to the moon at this time, and Venus has entered into Scorpio too. So once again, we have a buildup of water energy with Venus, the moon, Mercury, Mars, Neptune, which is actually gone direct at this point, and Chiron. And then you can see that we have this conjunction as it makes a square over to the moon, which will have come over Jupiter earlier in the day and will come over the Sun later in the evening. So this is really us kind of recalibrating our dream on how to act on it, how to move it forward. But there could be a danger, like I said, to getting really lost in the dream. Now, you remember how I said September was a bit of a soft reset to our ego? I'm just going to move this all the way forward to December 31st. I have a couple other dates, but it's not important. It is important, but I really want to just show you guys this because I think it's really, really interesting how this is happening. And I want to move this back just a tad to, I guess, the 30th, right? Because we do have this conjunction of Mars and Chiron. And then it's just interesting how, I kid you not, look at how this transition happens. December 31st, the last day of the year, Mars is at the edge of Pisces. At the edge of Pisces. And look at this. So I move this forward, and I want to say it's around 10 o'clock p.m. where, bam, Mars enters into Aries. The esoteric start of the year is when the sun reaches the spot, and Mars will be here. And then look, January 1st, it's the new year. Hard reset. New year, new you. The sun is going to be conjuncting Saturn, coming into the spot. And the other interesting thing about this energy is that, I kid you not, Mercury is actually going to be at 24 degrees of Sagittarius, and you might not think that that's significant, but the funny thing is that Jupiter will retrograde on this degree later. So it's like, even though it's a new year and a new you, we're going to be reminded of this moment because Jupiter is going to come back to the spot where Mercury represents our mind and communication. It's going to reach this spot again, but it's going to retrograde on this spot. So we're going to be kind of reminded of this moment in many ways. And it's really going to kind of come out from the depths. The reason why is because, look, the moon's going to be in Scorpio. So we will remember this moment. We will remember the change of 2018 into 2019. It's going to be a very iconic, powerful shift because we have Mars shifting literally into its home, and we have Mercury on top of the spot that Jupiter will retrograde, and we have the sun coming over Saturn very, very shortly after. Like, what? Like, what? And look at this. 24 degrees, 10 solar minute. That's where Mercury is. This will be the last day I show you before I come back on April 10th. Bam, you saw that? The shift right there just happened. Bam, April 10th. Jupiter, 24 degrees. Where's all the other energies? Chiron is technically coming out of shadow at this point. Technically, you could consider the solar minute. Venus is on top of Neptune. Mercury is here too. The moon will be opposing this spot that Jupiter's at. It will oppose it earlier in the day. And look where Mars is. It's at 7 degrees of Gemini. Not really making any aspects to anything. But when you consider the totality of all this energy and really what's happened and stuff, we can even see that it kind of comes full circle because that lunar eclipse earlier was at 20 degrees. And look, the North Node is coming to that spot. And the sun, which is in Aries, is actually going to be squaring the spot of that new moon solar eclipse that happened in Cancer earlier this year. So yeah, and Mars being in Gemini is going to be wanting to take actions and make certain connections with certain people. But once again, like I said, this is like a moment where we're kind of like remembering the journey. It's like, wow, it's like the first part of the year up into the April 10th is going to be really fast, really quick. It's going to move forward really, really fast. But then when we hit this moment, it's going to be kind of like a checkpoint. It's going to be kind of like we move from season 1 to season 2 in the show, and this is like coming kind of like the intermission moment. So, anyways, I know that was, let's see. I know that was a lot I went through, but I was just really excited, and I wanted to show you all just how huge this Mars going direct is. and how the aspects that it'll be making to certain energies, whether they're on that moment or if they have passed, is so amazing and profound how a lot of these aspects are within just a couple of degrees of each other, or they exactly line up. Like, it's really quite profound. So, all right, let's see who else on. Because I know, like I said, I was in there for a while. Hello, Gladiator and Sweats. Thank you for joining. I'm excited. Thank you so much for joining. Let's see. How is everyone doing? Are y'all enjoying Mars Direct? Are y'all jumping for joy? Let's have a party. Let's dance. Let's celebrate. Because we are moving forward. We can take action. We can change. We can establish new behaviors in our day-to-day reality to manifest and create the life that we really want. But it really is up to us to make that change, to really move forward. Let me take a swig of water real quick. I know I went over a lot during showing you those transits. So when I was like looking up all this stuff, I was like, man, this just like, I'm telling you guys, I can talk about this for hours. I really can. That's the cool thing about astrology, is that there's always more to learn, and there's always just like another unique way at looking at it. It's so cool. It's so amazing. So amazing. I'm being drawn to a couple of stones here, actually, that I have. Let's see. Oh, it must be over in the other room. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Being drawn to my sardonyx. And I'm also being drawn, I want to say this is cherry quartz. I'm pretty sure this is cherry quartz. I kind of want to look at the metaphysical properties of these energies real fast. So just give me one moment. I'm going to be that guy where we look up on my phone the metaphysical properties of these. Let's see. Sardonyx. Sardonyx metaphysical properties. It is a stone of protection and strength. It promotes virtuous conduct and integrity. Ooh, very powerful. Sardonyx attracts friends and good fortune. It brings lasting happiness and stability to partnerships. This is actually the perfect stone for this video. If you think about it, because especially where the nodes are heading and just all these energies, this is actually a moment of acting in integrity, taking the necessary actions in integrity and what's in line with our heart. And it's talking about attracting friends and good fortune. Mars, that's where it was. It was in Aquarius, and it retrograded back into Capricorn. And Aquarius is the sign of friends, and you know, and in many ways, partnerships in another sense. It's like, because Aquarius, if you think about it, it's a higher octave of Libra. So it's taken like, yeah, love, like Libra can represent partnerships and marriage. But when you take it to the Aquarius level, it's like, really the only way that these marriages last is if you're friends. Like, you have to be friends with that person first. You can make the connection initially with them in Gemini. Yeah, you might establish something in Libra. You might, get married. But then if you aren't friends, that marriage will collapse. You have to maintain the friendship. So very powerful stone. I'm glad I'm drawn to it. Super glad I'm drawn to it. Let's look up cherry quartz. I'm pretty sure that's what this one is. Cherry quartz. All right. Cherry quartz is a gemstone with meaning and properties of getting hope. This gemstone is useful when you want vitality or courage to make progress. Cherry quartz is a gemstone that can make you receive invisible energy easier. Interesting. It is good to use when you want to make your vision of the future clear. Another powerful stone I believe is very applicable, because this actually is going to be a transit. This Mars going direct, where We need to have the courage and the bravery to really move things forward, to want to act on certain things. And sometimes we don't want to move forward because our vision is blurry or we're worried about the future and we want absolutes. But the only thing that's absolute is change. And it's like, you know, there's never going to be per se a right time to act on something. There's never going to be a right time to do it. So you just have to do it. Just do it. Like I'm telling you, like this is the moment. It's like this stone is wanting to bring forth hope and courage and instill this bravery within you so you can charge forward, move forward in a powerful way. Mars coming direct. Yes. It's such a great moment. Like it really is. Like I'm excited. I hope you're all excited. And yes, this moment, the rest of this year will not be without its challenges. But if you harness these energies and if you really, you let these energies work for you, right? You don't just react to these energies, but you let these energies work for you. You'll look at the first half of this year and the second half of this year as the story of 2 years. It's almost going to be like August to September is kind of like you're getting split down the middle and you're gonna be like, whoa, like compared to the first half of 2018 to the second half of 2018, we're gonna be like, what in the world was that? That was such an insane, crazy year. That was such a like, what happened? Like, it's gonna be a really remarkable shift. Um, let's really get into it. We're gonna draw cards for each of the signs. But the title of this, I said, was Blazing a New Path Forward. And I really do feel like that's what this is about. Because, I mean, literally, this is fiery energy. And this is us really trying to find our place in the world. But really, in order for us to find our place in the world, we have to listen to what's in our heart. And we have to have the courage to move forward based off of how we feel. Um, Capricorn doesn't necessarily like to feel. Rather, it's a little bit more removed from its emotions. But it's opposite Cancer for a reason. And the time that signs are opposite each other, they're pretty much two sides of the same coin. So it's not so much that Capricorn doesn't care. It's just it considers the larger picture, right? So Mars is right now is wanting us to consider the action that we take and how that relates to the larger picture. Okay. So take advantage of this moment, take advantage of this energies, take advantage of the second half of this year. Because like I said, there are challenges, but you absolutely can and will overcome. You will move forward. You will evolve to the next level. And you will see that even though we're coming into the major Saturn Pluto conjunction over the next couple of years, and we have a lot of this Capricorn energy coming through, there's going to be a lot of propaganda. I'm telling you, there's going to be a lot of propaganda, and they're always trying to do it, but they're going to be pushing this whole idea of being afraid that the world can't change, being afraid that we can't have compassion, being afraid that the world is going to shit, being afraid that you can't pursue your dreams, your passions, your goals, and still have compassion for the world, that you have to be selfish in order to do this. And in many ways you do, but not in the way where you're stepping on so many people's toes in the process. You do not have to do that. But there's going to be this dogmatic, I'm telling you, I'm just channeling this right now. There's going to be this dogmatic message for like just pushing that message forward that you can't make it and you won't make it, that you will fall down and that you're going to have to. This is going to be a moment where really we are going to need to rely on each other and have more compassion. Because the North Node will be coming into Cancer. But don't fall for the trap. Don't fall for these fear games. Don't fall for this darkness that wants to keep you in this space of non-expansion. Because the interesting thing is that sometimes, and I've even dealt with this, sometimes people stave off success and expansion because subconsciously they know that you can only go up for so long before you come back down. Because it's a flux. It's a don't fall don't fall for the okie dokie. Right. It's just like, but life is a flux, so it's like, yeah, you come up, you have good moments, and you come down, but it's all about perspective. So it's like, yes, this is a moment of great expansion, and Jupiter coming into home, it's going to be a moment where we can move forward. And yeah, there'll be challenges, there'll be a pullback, The tides will come back into the ocean. You know, there will be moments where we'll need to uncover certain things in the sand, and that's okay. But don't let this fear propaganda be propelled and pushed on you and instilled on you that you can't go for what you want, because if you do go for what you want, the resulting fall is going to be something that you can't get up from. But you can. You will not stay down, beloved. You will not stay down. You may be like, look, I got knocked down today. I fell down today. And I may stay on the ground for a couple of days. I may stay on the ground for a couple of days because shit, the North Node will be in Cancer and I need to take care of me. I need to have compassion for me. But damn it, I will rise again and I will blaze forward and nobody will stop me. Only you can stop you. Whew, I'm sorry. I don't know where that came from. I was just channeling. It just came through, you know. Anyways, the card that I have for everyone is the card of alchemy. We have alchemy starting off. The frequency of alchemy activates our magical ability and remembrance of the magic that we all hold inside. Each one of us has the potential to access the ancient knowledge that allowed the true alchemist to perform the miracles of transmutation. We're just coming off, still kind of in the phase of this full moon in Pisces, which is about miracles and transmuting and really stepping into our magic, stepping into our imagination and manifesting from that spot. But we have to be able to look at our situation from a different perspective and really learn how to alchemize these energies. Alchemy, you are the alchemist, right? You are the divine alchemist. You so much have control over your reality if you realize it. Yes, there are external factors, but if you watched my Motivational Monday, I said that only you can thwart your progress. Only you can do it. Become the alchemist. Let's get into the rest of this reading. Interesting enough, at the bottom of the deck, we do have the devil card. So this is, and it was actually reversed when I pulled it up. So don't give into the fears. Don't give into the temptations. Don't give into those doubts. Don't give into those fear programs. Don't give into the fear programs, you know? And it happens to all of us from time to time. It happened to me, you know? I deal with anxieties and worries and stuff like that, but don't give in. Keep moving forward. You have the strength to. You're supported right now. We're absolutely supported. So we are going to, of course, start this off with Aries. I'm sure you're happy. Your ruling planet's finally moving forward. So you're going to finally be feeling like yourself again. You're going to be like, yes, I finally feel like I can take action and move things forward. Even though Mars is still in shadow period, you're going to be feeling good. All right, Aries. So the card that we have for you, we actually have the Eight of Wands. It's interesting. When I flipped it up, it was reversed. So this does speak to things moving forward, but you are going to have discernment still. But this is speaking to rapid evolution, rapid movement forward, things just really shifting. You are going to feel this Mars going forward. You may even feel compelled to just. You may even feel compelled, like there might be a certain action that you've been wanting to take or certain things you want to do. You may be compelled to tonight or to tomorrow to just do it, to just go for it. Yeah, like I would say still have some discernment, still just feel over it and just make sure that you're coming from a place of integrity. Integrity is really huge. So whatever you do, Aries, with this Mars direct, especially over the next several weeks, make sure that you are coming from a space of integrity. All right, Taurus, the card that we have for you. We have the Nine of Pentacles. This is one of my favorite cards in the deck because this is speaking to you being independent, baby. Woohoo! Independent, you know. This is speaking to you looking to manifest things, move things forward. And I want to say I drew this card for you in a reading that I did maybe like a month ago or so. But it's interesting because it's coming up again, kind of reminding you that you don't really need to rely on anybody, but there'll be great power that will come from you learning to rely on the right people. But this is this is you feeling independent, feeling like you can move things forward. Like you don't have to lean on anybody for help. You got this. You got this, Taurus. But it also would benefit you naturally to find people that will really augment your manifestation capabilities, really augment, where you're moving forward to. Right. Gemini. Gemini. Gemini, the card that I have for you is the Four of Cups in reverse. So the Four of Cups is, I think it's interesting because after hearing this description, I believe it was Aquarius Roberts that said it, but you said like the Four of Cups is like the day after the party where you're like hungover and you're like, damn, I'm never going to do that again. So I honestly, ever since hearing that, I just really thought that's what this energy is. It's reversed for you, Gemini, which really, if you think about it, a reverse tarot card is kind of like a planet that's in retrograde, so you're going in review. So yeah, you definitely are reviewing the party from the night before. But this is almost, I feel like for you, this is like, don't get too caught up in contemplation and don't try to think your way through a situation and try to think your way into knowing how this is going to play out. Just act. Just do it. You're being offered a great opportunity by the universe. So just go for it. Don't just sit there under the tree forever, all day long, waiting for enlightenment. Get out into the world and talk to people. Get around people. That's how you're going to receive your enlightenment during this time. Cancer. Cancer, the card that we have for you. Cancer, the card that we have for you is the Four of Pentacles. So this is kind of speaking to you wanting, of course, to hold on to certain things and stuff. But this is also, I haven't even really been thinking about like the houses and stuff like that. I'm just going to kind of flow with it. Cancer, you've been wanting to hold on to certain things. Definitely. You've been probably holding on to things that you've been wanting to say to people, things that you want to be wanting to act on. I feel like this is you kind of holding on to a conversation that you know you need to act on. And maybe you're afraid to potentially lose this individual, to lose this person, because they may not, you got to think Mars is, of course, opposing your energy. So this definitely can be dealing with, a relationship. But also, you just have to trust that when you have this conversation with this individual or even with yourself, that you're going to be moving in integrity. You're going to be acting in integrity. So I understand why you would hold on. It's okay because you've been really wanting to feel through everything and stuff, right? But there's a conversation coming up with somebody or with different people, different groups that you're a part of that needs to happen. And now is really going to be a time when Mars is coming forward where you're going to be afforded the opportunity to do so in a way that helps both parties out. Leo, the card that we have for you. Leo, we actually have the Moon card in reverse, so this is kind of interesting. This is speaking to you, saying that maybe your intuition might be a little off right now. This could be speaking to you, maybe not necessarily feeling really connected with your heart, or maybe even feeling connected with your path right now. You might not necessarily feel connected emotionally with your path, where you are heading right now, and you kind of needing to kind of make a decision and really begin to consider different actions that you can take that makes you feel more in line with what you feel like you're supposed to be doing, your purpose here. This isn't a bad thing. I think this is good for you to really reconsider this, especially since the North Node is in your sign. So it's probably very natural that you would be kind of reconsidering how to kind of move things forward and stuff like that. So especially have to consider that Mercury is in Leo still. So yeah, this is a time for you to kind of be really feeling out like what actions can I take that's going to actually allow me to establish the career and legacy that I really want, and what day-to-day actions can I take that's going to help me manifest that. Virgo. The card that we have for you is Virgo. We actually have the card of Judgment. Ooh, wow. Interesting. We have a card of Judgment. So, you know, this is really interesting here, especially considering that, for you, this is happening in your fifth house. So Mars coming forward, your fifth house, of course, going into your sixth house, which you naturally rule the sixth house, Virgo. But the judgment card here is really speaking to you definitely kind of making a judgment call on, issues of the heart, romantic relationships. Some of you might even be kind of making judgment calls on, yeah, if any of you have kids, there could be something along with kids that could come up. Maybe you've misjudged your child. I would say I don't know why that's coming through, but maybe you've misjudged your child, or you may be judging your children's actions a little too heavily. And this is kind of giving you a moment where you're wanting to definitely establish some peace and harmony and stuff, but also this is about you kind of maybe you've been a little hard on yourself about the actions that you've been taking and as regards to the heart, maybe and what you've been doing in your day-to-day reality. You might maybe you've been a little too hard on yourself. So definitely have some compassion for yourself, Virgo. The sun is in your sign, so you're definitely wanting to move things around and kind of get things in order. So it's going to be easy for you to be critical on yourself, but try not to get too caught up in being overly critical right now. And of course, like I'm going to tell all clients, make sure that your actions are in integrity. So, especially for you, because this is happening in your fifth house. So, in many ways, about you establishing a career or a legacy or a purpose that you really feel connected to deep within your heart. Okay, Libra. Libra, the card that I have for you, Libra, we have the King of Cups. So you can be dealing with the water sign, either a Cancer, a Scorpio, or a Pisces. It might really affect you pretty heavily during this Mars coming forward. But really what I like to see this card, this is actually one of my favorite cards in the deck, is Libra, you really want to exhibit the qualities of the compassionate king. And I'm going to mention this almost every time I bring up this card, is that the King of Cups is the king that when someone comes into his court, he doesn't ask really too many questions about who are you, where are you from, what's your story, what can I gain from you being in my court, what can you do for me? No, the King of Cups clothes them, feeds them, make sure that they feel comfortable, and then moves forward and asks. So Libra, that's kind of what you're going to be doing here. Is that of course, this energy is squaring you, this Mars energy. So this is actually about you having compassion for yourself and having compassion for other people, but of course, primarily yourself. So exhibit the qualities of that King of Cups, and don't be super hard on yourself. Yeah, you were trying to really figure out, your destiny and your path and stuff, and you really definitely feel you feel a deeper connection to it because I mean, it's your fourth house, right? So have compassion for yourself. Take yourself out on a date. Treat yourself to to your favorite food. Do something nice for yourself. Don't just try and figure out, oh, what can I do? How is this going to benefit me? No, take care of yourself. Take care of yourself first. Okay. Scorpio. Scorpio, the card that we have for you. Golly. Scorpio, what's going on? I don't know whenever I get to Scorpio, a bunch of cards fall out. But there was one card that was face down, and that's the card that I'm going to draw for you. And it happens to be the Two of Pentacles. So Two of Pentacles is interesting because this is really about you kind of filling into your abundance. There's an infinity sign in there, and you're technically the eighth sign. So this is really about you filling into your power, your abundance, filling into your manifesting abilities. You really coming into your own, coming into that space, especially considering Mars is a co-rules you, so you've been feeling this energy too about it being retrograde. But now that Mars is coming forward, And for you, this is your third house. This is dealing with communication, other people, and really your mind. But this is really about you thinking more confident thoughts. You thinking, having more thoughts of abundance. That's really what the thing. It's like you thinking more abundant. You thinking in terms of prosperity. You thinking in terms of being infinitely abundant, and that this prosperity that Source wants to give you is your inherent birthright. It's inherently yours. So just remember that, Scorpio. Okay, Sagittarius, Swagatarius, Swagatarius. The card that we have for you, we have the Five of Pentacles. So this is interesting because this is speaking to you feeling, and this is actually kind of perfect, because I'm a Sag rising. So Mars coming forward is actually you gaining your confidence back. You feeling like you're not on the outside. This is your second house of self-worth and self-value. So the Five of Pentacles is like you haven't really been feeling valuable. You haven't been feeling like you found your place in the world. You haven't been feeling like you might even be in the right place. Like maybe you're not even in the right career, the right job. It might be affecting you to the point where it's like you feel like you don't really feel your worthiness. But I'm here to let you know that you can go inside and have a nice meal. You can feel the warmth. And Jupiter is coming home. So this is a powerful moment where Sagittarius is actually going to start to feel more confident again. They're going to start to feel their place in the world again. They're no longer going to be feeling like they're on the outside looking in. They're going to be feeling like they actually are a part of something amazing, beautiful. Capricorn, the card that we have for you. Once again, everyone, thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. I really do appreciate the all my recent subscribers, everyone who subscribed to the channel. The comments, the views, the likes, I really do appreciate it. I love doing this. And that's why I shifted my schedule around so I can do this more. Capricorn, we had the Seven of Cups. It's really interesting because this card was one of the first cards I saw when I picked up my deck before I shuffled it before doing this, and it comes back up. Mars, of course, is directing your sign. So this is definitely speaking to where, like, when Mars is going forward now, it's almost like Mars kind of came back to this spot. Now that's going forward, it's like, oh crap, there's 7 paths I can take. And based off of the path I take, it's going to take me to a different, I guess, maybe arena that we're going to get abducted when Mars comes into Aquarius, and then we're going to do our training there. But it's like, there's like going to be multiple different paths opening up for what you can do. So it's like, know that you are manifesting abundance, and there are many options open to you, Capricorn. But really, the way that you know what path to take is it in line with integrity? Is it an action that you can take that's not only going to benefit you, but others, benefit the world at large, and contribute to the overall well-being of our planet, of this being, to Gaia? That's how you're going to determine what path to take, Capricorn. Aquarius, Aqua. Aquarius, the card that we have for you. We have the Three of Swords in reverse. I don't think anyone really likes this card. The fact that it's in reverse means that the heartbreak that you might have been feeling or you might have been worried about, it probably won't happen, and maybe you might be overthinking it. I'm going to draw another card just because of the nature of the card. The fact that it's in reverse means that it's kind of in review. We have the Hierophant, so this is actually kind of you definitely having to have like a one-on-one with God and your higher self to really just determine, whether or not. I really kind of feel this is like you kind of wanting a new heart almost, or you kind of wanting to just feel better about things. Maybe not necessarily a new heart, but you kind of wanting to feel like you can be put back together again. Of course, Mars did retrograde in your sign, and it had to come back. So maybe there were actions you took in the past that might have broken other people's hearts or broke your heart even. Maybe certain things that you had to do, but this is going to be a moment where you're going to have to consult your higher self and really, forgive yourself, forgive others, and, know that your heart absolutely can be mended and will be mended, and that, you will be okay. You will be okay. And the bottom of the deck, by the way, Aquarius, is the Page of Wands. So you absolutely do have the power to manifest this. And even I would say some of you that, as far as relationships go, some of you might be worried about a relationship falling apart, but you actually can work things out. Some of you might have broken up with someone and might actually want to get back with them because you want to work things out. It's really, this is a general reading, so that's not going to apply to everyone, but you will be consulting your higher self on this. You're going to have to kind of have like a one-on-one, especially since Mars went back into Capricorn, which is your 12th house. So it's very, very karmic, especially those of you who are in a relationship. It's very, very karmic. It doesn't mean it's over. It just means that it's going through review in a bit of a challenging period. But there's still some great beauty that can be viewed there, right? And Pisces, the card that we have for you, Pisces, we have the Wheel of Fortune in reverse. This is kind of interesting, actually. The Wheel of Fortune reverse could be speaking to misfortune, but I think it could also be speaking to, since it's in reverse and it's really like I said, a planet going retrograde, this is not about you waiting for fortune. This is about you creating your fortune. What happens sometimes is that we wait for things to happen. We wait for synchronicity. We wait for a fortunate thing to happen. We wait for something positive to happen. Instead of going out and in our everyday life, establishing routines and actions and behaviors that bring that fortune in. So don't wait for the fortune to come. Don't wait for the abundance to come. Go out there, create it, manifest it, become it. Sun is in Virgo, your opposite sign. Have a relationship. Make a relationship with the miracle. Like, create a relationship with the miracle. Create a relationship with abundance and prosperity. Create a relationship with fortune. That's really going to help to turn this right side up, and you're really going to be feeling infinitely abundant, right? And the final card that I have for everyone, I'm going to draw a random card from here. Beautiful. We have the card of healing. We have the card of healing. The frequency of healing supports our intrinsic ability to restore our health and wholeness by consciously using the information that comes to us through our senses and harmonizing everything accordingly. The number is 29. So become the alchemist. You are the alchemist, and know that you are also healing. No matter what you're going through, you are absolutely healing. You have to remember, the wounded healer, Chiron, is in Aries. And during like this whole transit that I was showing you, it will come back into Pisces. So yes, we are in many ways even healing our connection to spirit. So we still have to work through this before we really begin to work on healing ourselves. But know that the process has started, and know that you absolutely have the strength, and you absolutely have the strength to do so and to really move forward in a powerful way. You are healing. You are whole already. You're having the illusion of the fragmentation. That's why it's so tough. That's why it's so hard. Because you have the illusion of the fragmentation, but you are whole already. It's just about remembering that and healing any of these doubts and fears that we have. But like I said, this Mars direct is a powerful moment. Go out and celebrate, fun, but make sure that you are taking actions that are in line with your heart, that are of integrity, that not only help you, but also serve the collective and really serve the big picture. But you are the masterpiece. Go out there, create, evolve, explore, do great things, move forward. Do not let these energies mess with you. Do not let your dreams be dreams. Just do it. And I'm telling you, be weird. Like, just do it, man. I'm telling you, like, just go for it. Anything that tries to come at you, just slash it away. You are a warrior. You are a spiritual warrior. And it's like, even I have been trying to deny this. And part of me, because like a part of me is a pacifist, right? But it's like even part of me has been trying to deny this whole spiritual war that's going on. But we absolutely are in a spiritual war. So it's okay. You can grab your sword, still radiate love, but clap back. Okay? Like, seriously, you are amazing. You are beautiful. You are creative. You are divine. You are energetic. You are so fucking amazingly worthy. It's okay to push back. It's okay to fight back, right? It is okay. I'm telling this to myself because I even struggle with this. Like I said, I'm a pacifist. Sometimes I don't want to fight, but in order for us to get the life that we want, in order for us to establish the world that's going to benefit all of us, we do have to fight for it. We do have to fight for it. We have to stand on our truth. We have to be confident, have the courage to stand on our truth, to radiate love for love's sake alone. For real. Anyways, blazing a new path forward. Thank you so much for joining me on this video, my beautiful brothers and sisters. I really do appreciate it. If you would like a personal reading with me, you can follow the link in the description below to the Aquarian Adepts. I am currently running a sale that is actually starting right now. It's already started. It's going to go through the month of September. 25% off of all of my services. In fact, when you go to my page and you click on the services tab, the price that you see there is the discounted price. So 25% off of all of my services. I look forward to meeting and working with you all, collaborating, sharing space, and radiating love. Happy Mars direct. You made it. It's been such a crazy summer, such a crazy first half of the year. You made it. You are here. You're in the moment. Give yourself a freaking round of applause. I love you all, my beautiful brothers and sisters, my beautiful, beautiful star child. You are incredibly worthy. Peace out. I love you all. Always remember, my beautiful brothers and sisters, to keep moving forward, to stay focused, and Yahoo! Smile often.